You may have heard of Nestle. Purina is one of the largest pet food manufacturers in the world, but they produce a lot more than just that. In fact, one of their most sophisticated manufacturing centers is actually right where they're headquartered here in St. Louis, Missouri. And coming in live from St. Louis, Missouri, we have Mizraim Navi, who's going to talk to us a little bit about what they do at Nestle Purina day in and day out and take us on a virtual tour through the facilities and learn a little bit about Nestle Purina. Mizraim, welcome to Manufacturing Day 2023.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. I will be sharing my screen, so give me just 1 second to get that going, and we will be underway. All right, so thank you for the introduction. Again, Ms. Rainala, I'm happy to be here. I hope you guys are not having any trouble with seeing my screen or hearing me. If you do, please just put it in the comments and I will fix it. So a little bit about myself. My name is Ms. Rainala, I said. I'm from Santa Rosa, California originally. I attended University of California, Merced, with a degree of mechanical engineering is what I graduated. Uh, and then I've been at Nestle Purina for about a year and a half now. I started in our factory in Mechanicsburg, PA, right outside of Philly and Baltimore. So I spent some time on the East Coast. And I started in the management development program, which is Purina's program for young engineers or professionals that want to get a taste of all the different positions that Purina has to offer. And after that, I came to Nestle Purina here corporate. So I'm part of the corporate engineering team now. And I've been here for a couple months now. So yeah, just a little bit about myself. If you guys have any questions about me, just hold them until the end. I will have some time for Q&A. So today I want to walk you guys through what one of our factories normally looks like. We'll do that through a virtual tour that I have set up here. And again, if you have questions, leave them towards the end. I will have a couple minutes so that we can answer questions or anything else you guys might have. All right, so let's get started. And first things first, here at Purina, we take safety very, very seriously. We want you to go home with all the body parts that you came to work with. We know you have families, you have pets that you want to see when you go back home and play with. So safety is very important to us. And because of that, we want to address here today the safety. In this case, we are virtual, so we don't have to worry about that. But we can still put on some virtual hard hats and safety glasses and get underway. All right, let's see. All right, so this is our ingredient storage. And just like at home, when you're gonna cook a recipe, your first thing you need is your ingredients. And same way, the first thing we use is our ingredients. And just like at home, you have a pantry. Here in Purina, we also have a pantry. It's just very, very big. So multiple sizes of the pantry that you would have at home and a little more industrial. But let's walk through it. Okay,
Mizraim,
so today we will.
I don't think the sound's going on your end. If you want to go ahead and talk over that as it plays, that's fine.
Yep, that's fine. So what we saw so far is it's an introduction. The factory that we will be touring today is the factory in Clinton, Iowa, which is just up the road here from St. Louis, and that's the storage area. So whenever we get our ingredients, we test for quality, we test for protein, We want to make sure that all of our ingredients are meeting our quality demands. And that's what this is showing here. It's showing as soon as the ingredients get, we test first thing. If they do not meet our standards, we usually send them back to our supplier. Um, and a question for you guys actually here. Let's pause. This will be an interactive. You don't have to answer or put it on the comments. It's just for you to go along. So how long does it take for Nestle Purina to onboard new suppliers and complete their auto verifications? So we have 6 to 12 months, 1 to 3 months, or 2 weeks. What do you guys think? Let's see. So the answer is 6 to 12 months. Yep. And I know that seems a little too long, but we really like to research who we're getting our ingredients from and make sure that we know exactly the quality of ingredients that we're getting before we start getting supplies from them. Okay, batching. So this machine is similar to, let's see, the scale that you have at home. So on top, it has a big sack of ingredients, which you can see right here. And it is automatically dispensing the right amount of whatever that might be, rice, corn, oats. Um, it's automatically dispensing it and sending it to further processing. So further down the line, there's another machine which we will see that is combining all the ingredients that it's calling for. So this piece of equipment is specifically just weighing out the ingredients and sending them out. And all of our ingredients have a purpose. So we don't just want to throw rice in there to get your dog or cat to feel full. There's a lot of research that goes behind every single ingredient that we put in our products, and they all have a reason why they're there, whether it's for vitamins, minerals, the healthy carbs, protein, they all have a reason. Okay, and now we went from our ingredients. So we have our ingredients in our ingredient storage. Now we got to batch them, right? Now we're getting ready to cook our recipe. So we have to start calling for all the different amounts of corn, rice, meat, oil, and that's what we're doing here in batching. Um, let's see, let's see a little more in detail what we got here. So the micro miners is what you're looking at right here, and the micro miners is pretty much what you saw on the other slide. It's a scale, um, and it's dispensing a very precise amount of ingredients. The microminer is specifically used for minerals and vitamins. So this one has to be even more accurate than the one before. This is very accurate to a very high percentage, um, specifically because it has to batch ingredients that are not used in big amounts. So if we're using minerals or vitamins, uh, there we got to give them the precise amount, right? And so we don't want your dog or your cat to be super buff because we gave them more protein than uh, than necessary. But we also have a question on this slide. So, how many quality checks does Nestle Purina do across all of our factories in 24 hours? And in Purina, we have here in North America, we have about 22 different factories. So the options we have is tens, hundreds, tens of thousands, and let's see. The answer is tens of thousands. Yep. We do a lot of testing, even within every shift. We do multiple tests. We test many different things, ingredients, the way our product is coming out, moisture, many different types of tests. Moving forward, we got our processing. So in processing, we already got our ingredients. We already weighted them out. We got exactly what we need. So now we have to mix them, right? We have to get them together and start kind of making. If you're at home, you're making, I don't know, bread. You're gonna get your eggs, your flour, your oil. Same concept here. We got all of our ingredients, and we're gonna start mixing them. So to do that, we use a processing kettle. So a kettle uses all the scales. It's communicating with all the scales that you guys saw, both the micro miners and the bulk scales, and it's calling for the products. The scales send them to this guy right here, and it starts mixing in both wet and dry ingredients. So we have wet ingredients like I said, oil, animal fat. We can have um, fish oil. We can have different types of meats, and here we're mixing it all up so that we can start getting ready to cook it. Now we have a question here. What percentage of our pet food products sold in the US are made in the US? What do you guys think? 75, 99, 50%, less than 50? Let's see what we got. 99%. That is correct. Yep. So this is something we're very proud of. We're American made and American sold pretty much. Most of our products are sold in the US. I think the most households here in the US have pets, whether it's dogs or cats. So luckily for us, a lot of our products are sold in the US. We don't have to ship out. All right. So, like mentioned before, Purina makes more than just dog food and cat food. We also make litter. And litter is actually the biggest mining for litter in the world is in the US, and it's here in our state of Missouri. So that is something that, again, we're very proud of, that we have the biggest litter mining in the world here in our backyard. Um, the way litter is processed is a little different than our cat and our dog food, obviously. Litter is mostly clay, and it's a clay core with a clay uh, cover. So here they use the simile of a chocolate covered peanut, but yeah, so it's just clay. It's just the way it's processed. It's different, so it has different properties, and that's why we have a clay with a different property in the core and a clay with a different property on the outside, so that this clay can have multiple purposes um, for your cat. All right, now we got extrusion. So we cooked our food, or sorry, we combine our food, all of our ingredients, and now we're gonna cook it. And now, if you guys are not listening to the video, I will do my best approach at talking about what they're talking about here. But pretty much what we're talking about is the, not only do we make actual food, we also make snacks. So just like us humans at home, we eat ice cream or we eat um, chips for a snack. Our dogs or cats also want something a little tasty every once in a while. What you're seeing here is the bacon strips. And if you guys have dogs and ever gave your dog a bacon strip, you know they go crazy for these things. So yeah, we have very particular standards for our appearance, or smell, or texture, or color, or shape. And since we can here, I will fast forward a little. Okay. Now this is the product. The extruder is part of the extrusion process. Go back real quick. So the extruder is our cooker. So it's cooking our food. We send the ingredients already mixed uh, into the extruder. So we mix them in the batching kettle. Now we have it in the extruder, and this is cooking it, and at the same time it's shaping it. And the way it does this is at the end of the extruder, there's a cap. It's called a die cap, and this cap has the shape of the product that you want. We have many shapes. We have hearts, we have dog bones, we have smiley faces, we have diamonds, and so the product is coming out through this little shaped holes, and then you have a knife that's going through and cutting and turning that piece into a 3D piece of kibble, or in this case a snack. Um, and it's a very important process, and it's a very delicate process because we want to get the right shape and the right size. And another question: manufacturers in the U.S. contribute how much of all private sector research and development in the nation? So, what do you guys think? Three quarters, one third, one half? Let's see. A little slow. and it's 1/3. Yep. So in Purina, we do a lot of research, and we actually created the extruding process. So this process right here of cooking the dog food the way that it's cooked, we created, and we also create a lot of our machinery up to date. A lot of our factories are using all of the machinery that we create, and the machines are actually built here in St. Louis. So we build our machines here, and then we send them out to the factories across the U.S. Okay, so now we have our drying process. So we got our ingredients, we mix them up, we cook them, and now we have to dry them. And what this is doing here is it's taking the product from the extruder and it's sending it to the dryer, and it's going back and forth, delivering an even layer of product so that it dries evenly. Let's look into the quality assurance. So even after products are made, we're still doing testing, and we continue to do testing throughout the whole cycle. So testing never really stops. We want to make sure that up to the last minute you're getting, the exact amount of moisture, the right amount of flavoring, coloring, everything that makes our uh, quality food. We test up until the last minute. Okay, so you guys might be wondering why do you have to dry the food? So it spans shelf life, and it makes it taste a little more fresh, and also texture. Some dogs like really crunchy stuff, and so we get the texture just right for those type of dogs. And some other products like the cat products take a little less drying because turns out cats like a little more moist product. So fun fact. Okay, and now the wet food process. So instead of it's almost the same process up until you send it to the dryer. For the wet food, you don't send it to a dryer. You put it in a can and you cook it a little more so that you're 100% sure that it's safe to eat. And that's pretty much the difference in a nutshell. So how many dogs and cats do Nestle Purina feed every year? Let's see, 49 million. So it's quite a bit of dogs and cats. And yep, we contribute to a lot of donations to different organizations to help pets in need throughout the US. Okay, so now we got packaging. So we made our food, we dried it, we added flavoring. Now we're gonna pack it up, start getting ready to send it out. So I'll let this video play a little bit so you get to see a little bit of the different packaging that we have. But summary of this video is we're just showing you the different types of packaging that we have. Most of our factories can do anywhere from a small bag of a couple pounds to a really big bag of 50 pounds. So if you have a little Chihuahua, you probably, want a smaller bag. But if you have a Great Dane, then some Great Danes probably eat more than I do per day. So they need a lot of food. And we can accommodate to all those different types of dogs and cats. So there's just a little more of a process for packing. All right, let's go now into our next section. And here we're talking about packaging materials. We use packaging materials that are obviously more resistant than paper. And we do this to, one, make sure that the food is going to stay in the bag, seal and fresh until you are ready to open it. And also it prevents spillage, it prevents waste, which is a good thing. We don't want waste and all those damage bags getting into the stores. Okay, recyclable packaging. So we're 90% recyclable at the moment, and we will be 95% recyclable by 2025. I'll let this one play out just for sake of time, but it is a myth. Actually, manufacturing is leading the way in sustainability. So it's not a myth that we are the disruptors of energy. We actually are helping with finding new ways to be more sustainable. Here it is, our canning and litter packaging. So, like I said, we also make cans of food and we also make buckets of litter. And it's just showing that process. And now here's our warehouse. So we pack it up and now we're ready to send it out. Let's see what they got here. So this is talking about our palletizing, our warehouse and the way we store. Once we have our bags, then we turn them into pallets and then we store them and everything is organized so that when we go to do uh, a sale, we know exactly where everything is. And here they're showing how we load it up into trucks and send it out to our customers. Let's see what question they got for us here. I think this is the last question. So how many vendors do we source ingredients from? Let's see, tens, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, and it's actually hundreds. So again, we're very uh, delicate with how who we deal with. So we try to keep that number low. That way we can manage our suppliers more closely. And with that, we have finished our tour. So thank you guys. And is there any questions? I see the Q&A box has 8 comments. Let's see.
A few questions for you.
Okay.
So great. I was sitting there taking notes, and my personal question is, what is your most popular dog food treat?
I would say bacon strips.
Bacon strips.
Bacon
Okay.
strips. Yep. And if you've ever smelled them, they really do smell like bacon. It's interesting.
Well, excellent. I've had them a few times for our dogs, and they've loved them. But it's been a while, so maybe on the way home today, I'll be picking those up for the puppies.
Yep.
We have some great questions coming in, and Olathe Advanced Technical Center, Electronics and Avionics class asks, "Where do you get your research from?" Good question, Olathe.
That's a great question. So we have our in-house research facility. So we have about 3 or 4 different facilities throughout the world. 2 of them are actually here in Missouri, um, actually 3 of them. And so every facility is dedicated to a specific category. So there is one for litter, one for wet products, and one for dry products here in Missouri alone. And then there's one more in France, and they're all part of Purina. So we have vets, we have scientists, we have people that somehow make sure that the food tastes good for the dogs. I don't know how to do that.
Well, hey, that's a follow-up question by Mrs. Wood's class. Actually, they asked, "Do you have pet food taste testers? And if so, what's the average salary?"
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, I've been part of kind of our testing method. So we have a panel of people that get certified to test the food, up to a certain degree, right? So we smell it, we look at the shape, we look at the color, we make sure that it's the right color, the right shape, um, and that there's not a lot of crumbles in the bag, or that they're not clumped together, because if especially cats, they cannot, they don't like big clumps of food, so they won't eat it, or they can even choke. So we want to make sure that they are they're the right size. And then we also have dogs and cats that test.
Excellent. Hey, that kind of right in line with Mrs. Yoko's class. And Chillicothe High School asks, if a batch of pet food does not meet your quality standards, what happens to it?
Yeah, so depending on why it doesn't meet our standards, there's different things that happen. So uh, back in the day, we would just throw it out, but we're trying to be more sustainable. So now we have different ways of recouping that product. So if it just didn't have the right amount of protein, we'll send it back to the beginning of the process. We'll grind it up again. We'll add the amount of protein it needed, and then it will be actual product once it has the right amount of protein. If it's something a little more critical, like maybe I don't know, a piece of plastic was detected somewhere in that 50-pound bag. That will get taken out, and we'll take it to a compost site. So the product will be composted instead of just wasting away in the landfill.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad that, it's no surprise that Nestle Purina is very sustainable in their practices and their products and really efficient in the way that you do it. So, Ms. Rain, I wish we had more time for questions, but we need to move out and move on to our next manufacturing host. Did an outstanding job, and we'll probably follow up with you with some of the other questions that Olathe High School posed to you, as well as a few others in the chat.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for joining us.